Welcome to the Project Core Professional Development Modules. This module, Beginning Communicators, is designed to describe students who are beginning communicators and the variety of ways they communicate. It also describes how educators can work with beginning communicators to help them move toward intentional communication using symbols. Project Core is being conducted by the Center for Literacy and Disability Studies, a unit in the Allied Health Sciences Department at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. To begin this module, let's make certain that we have a shared understanding of the fact that everyone communicates. Individuals communicate in many different ways, and some do not intend to communicate with us, but everyone communicates. Communication can take a variety of forms. Speech, sign, and symbols are all examples of symbolic communication. Gestures, vocalizations, and behaviors such as changes in breathing or heart rate, tensing muscles, puckered lips, and many more are examples of non-symbolic communication behaviors. Our goal in Project Core is to build symbolic communication skills in all students while continuing to support them in using all forms of communication. This means we want to target the development of speech, sign, and/or symbol use in communication, but we are going to accept, honor, and support all forms of communication, especially from beginning communicators. Many students with the most significant cognitive disabilities are beginning communicators. Some are able to use speech, signs, or symbols to communicate, but many students do not yet have the foundation to use symbols to communicate, and some do not yet intentionally communicate. We are including all of these students in Project Core, including those at the earliest stages of communication development. There are no prerequisites to getting started with Project Core. We certainly are not expecting all students to begin using symbols to communicate right away, but we do know that many beginning communicators will never learn if we do not begin maximizing their opportunities to learn right away. Typically, developing children hear thousands and thousands of spoken words before we expect them to utter a single word. Students who are learning to communicate with symbols need the same opportunity to learn from adults who provide thousands and thousands of examples of symbol use. In Project Core, we are maximizing these learning opportunities by asking adults to use the 36 universal core vocabulary words to show students how to use symbols to communicate all day, every day. Before students use speech, signs, or symbols to communicate, they must move from pre-intentional to intentional forms of communication. When students are pre-intentional communicators, adults must learn to identify behaviors that could serve a communication purpose. For example, adults might look for physiological behaviors such as an increased breathing rate and increased heart rate. Adults can also look for affective behaviors such as smiling, laughing, whining, crying, or pouting. Other times, body movements might serve a communication purpose. Students might kick, turn away, close their eyes, reach, or otherwise move their body in a way that an adult can interpret for a possible communication purpose. All of these forms of communication can happen without the student intending to communicate to someone else. In other words, the student is not intentionally trying to get a particular response, but we can teach them to use these behaviors to communicate intentionally. To do so, we need to tell the student very clearly what they did to communicate with us, helping them build understanding that their behavior is something that they could do in the future to influence how another person responds. This is called attributing meaning. Once students make that connection and begin to understand that they can influence how another person responds by using behaviors that communicate something, it gets easier and easier to help them develop intentional, symbolic communication. Take a look at the photos of these students. What do you think they might be trying to say? If we knew the context of the photos, we would probably have a better idea about what these students are communicating, but even without the context, their facial expressions, posture, and gestures can help us make a pretty good guess. The student in the upper left might be saying, "I like it," while the student in the upper right might be saying, "I want it," and the student at the bottom might be saying, "I'm looking," or "I'm thinking."